The return of what was believed lost, a millennial prophecy about Manasseh, the forgotten tribe, comes alive before our eyes. Imagine this: in the remote peaks of India, a hidden community, the Bnai Manasseh, claims direct descent from one of the 10 lost tribes of Israel. Their Hebrew chants echo in distant valleys. They keep the Sabbath with ancestral devotion, and each dawn they nurture the dream of stepping once again on the land of their patriarchs. But here's what will take your breath away. The very government of Israel welcomes them. What if the oldest book in the world is unfolding before us? Could this be the tribe of Manasseh, returning home after 2,700 years of silence? And what if this means the time of prophecies is accelerating much faster than we ever could conceive? In the serene hills of northeastern India, in the states of Manipur and Mizoram, resides a modest but unbreakable community. They call themselves Bnei Manasseh, which in Hebrew means sons of Manasseh. They aren't recent converts. Their voices sing hymns narrating the crossing of the Red Sea, and their nights are filled with the epics of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Stories woven into the memory of their grandparents and the generations that preceded them. The truly astonishing thing is this: they didn't learn them from dusty tomes or from the mouths of missionaries. These traditions weren't studied, but inherited. But from whom and how did they manage to endure for 2,700 years? Allow me to unveil an enigma that spans millennia, journeying back in time. After Solomon's glorious reign, ancient Israel fragmented into 2 kingdoms. The northern kingdom, composed of 10 tribes, including Manasseh, sank into increasing rebellion against God. In 722 BC, the Assyrian Empire swept down upon them like a devouring fire. What followed rewrote history. The Assyrians didn't just conquer, they scattered. 10 entire tribes were uprooted, mercilessly dispersed across the known world. Most assumed they had vanished forever, absorbed by other cultures, erased from memory. But what if they never disappeared? What if they simply migrated? This is the incredible journey. Samaria, Persia, Tibet, Burma, India. The oral legends of the Bnei Manasseh speak of the mythical Shinlung cave, an ancestral resting point in their epic odyssey. For centuries, they kept the flame of their true homeland alive. They survived exile, but their purpose never died out. And that purpose, my friends, is about to be revealed. But why Manasseh among all the tribes? Why is this one so crucial? Manasseh was Joseph's firstborn son, born in Egypt during those years of scarcity. On his deathbed, Jacob did something unprecedented. He adopted Joseph's 2 sons as his own, declaring that they would inherit alongside his own children. Genesis tells us that Manasseh received a double portion of land on both sides of the Jordan River. Joshua documents their singular inheritance, stretching from the Mediterranean to the limits of the eastern desert. But here's where the prophecy overwhelms us. Why is Manasseh specifically mentioned among the 144,000 sealed in Revelation? That question, believe me, will blow your mind when I reveal the answer. The Exile of Israel, a tragic epic, repeated through the centuries. First, the Assyrian exile in 722 BC, 10 tribes scattered like seeds in the wind. Then, the Babylonian captivity in 586 BC, but those exiles eventually returned. What came next was different. What came next seemed final. Jesus himself predicted the temple's devastation with chilling details. Luke 21:6. As for these things which you see, the days will come when there will not be left one stone upon another that will not be torn down. In 70 AD, Roman legions razed Jerusalem. The temple was consumed by flames, and the people scattered to all corners of the earth. For nearly 1,900 years, there was no homeland. Through pogroms and persecutions, the Jewish people wandered. Then, Against all historical precedent, against all odds, in 1948, they returned. But the story hadn't ended. It was just beginning. In the 1950s, in northeastern India, a tribal leader has a vivid dream. In it, he envisions the ancestral land of his people, a land flowing with milk and honey, a land their ancestors once called home. What happened next defies all explanation. Christian missionaries arrived in the region, bringing Bibles translated into local dialects. But instead of converting the tribes to a foreign religion, something extraordinary occurred. They didn't adopt the Bible, they recognized it. For them, these weren't new stories, they were their own stories. The festivals they had celebrated for centuries perfectly matched Levitical law. The songs they sang contained Hebrew words. Their millennia-old customs mirrored ancient temple practices. They weren't learning about Israel, they were remembering it. But recognition is only the first step. What would come next would change everything. 2005, a milestone that moved the Jewish world. Israel's chief rabbi officially recognized the Bnei Manasseh as descendants of the lost tribe of Manasseh. After 2,700 years of exile, they were finally validated, returning home. But bureaucracy, slow by nature, was hot on their heels. May 2023, ethnic violence erupted across northeast India like a powder keg exploding. What ensued was every believer's nightmare. Synagogues reduced to ashes, sacred Torah scrolls, some hand, copied for generations, devoured by fire. Community leaders fled for their lives. Deaths were reported. Ancient communities that had resisted 2,700 years of exile suddenly found themselves on the brink of extinction. But here's the detail most people overlook. This isn't an isolated incident. What's happening in India is a piece of something much larger, something that will amaze you. Beta Israel, Ethiopian Jews, repatriated in dramatic rescue operations. Crypto Jews in Spain and Latin America, unearthing their hidden heritage after 500 years of secrecy. Communities in Nigeria, demonstrating genetic links to ancient Israel. Lost tribes in China, maintaining Jewish traditions for millennia. Afghan Jewish communities evacuated in breathtaking rescue missions. Observe the map, see the pattern emerging, from the mountains of Ethiopia to the valleys of India, from the plains of Nigeria to the steppes of Central Asia. Everyone is coming home. This isn't coincidence, it's not random migration. The return isn't just happening, it was foretold. And the prophecies are more explicit than you ever imagined. Ezekiel 36-24. For I will take you from the nations, gather you from all the lands, and bring you into your own land. But here's the detail many miss in this prophecy. It's not just about geography or political borders. Observe what follows. Moreover, I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. And I will remove the heart of stone from your flesh and give you a heart of flesh. Physical return and spiritual renewal. That's the complete vision. Paul understood this mystery when he wrote in Romans 11:25-27, For I do not want you, brethren, to be uninformed of this mystery, so that you will not be wise in your own opinion. That a partial hardening has happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles has come in, and so all Israel will be saved. But here's where the revelation becomes absolutely astonishing. Revelation 7 names the sealed tribes, including Manasseh, but notice something shocking. Dan is missing. Why is Dan excluded, and what does Manasseh's inclusion mean for our understanding of the end times? The answer will change everything you thought you knew. Let me shatter a common misconception that has confused millions of believers. The 144,000 are not symbolic of the church. They don't represent all believers throughout history. The book of Revelation mentions a group of 144,000 people 3 times. Revelation 7-4 says, And I heard how many were sealed. 144,000, 12,000 sealed from every tribe of the sons of Israel. Why are they sealed? When are the 144,000 sealed? They are sealed to be protected from future judgment. Revelation mentions them after the opening of 6 seals, which unleash misery and destruction. These seals include representations of false prophets, war, famine, pestilence, 4 horsemen, a religious inquisition that led to the deaths of faithful Christians, and heavenly signs. Jesus described this time as one of great tribulation, such as has not been since the beginning of the world until this time, no, nor ever shall be. Matthew 24-21, -22. For at that time there will be a great tribulation, and if those days had not been cut short, no human life would be saved. But for the sake of the elect, God's chosen ones, those days will be shortened. The sealing of 144,000 people occurs after the tribulation and before God's punishment is unleashed upon the earth. In the following chapter, it explains that 4 angels ready to bring destruction are instructed not to harm the earth until this specific group has been sealed. Revelation 7-1-3, Amplified Bible. After this I saw 4 angels stationed at the 4 corners of the earth, holding back the 4 winds. And with a loud voice he called out, saying, "Do not harm the earth, until we seal, mark, the bond, servants of our God, on their foreheads." In the New Testament, sealed comes from a Greek term meaning to stamp with a private mark, implying to keep hidden, protect, or preserve. Its use was common in official contexts. For example, a Roman centurion would seal a document. If the seal were broken, the recipient would know the letter had been altered or read. God's seal functions as a distinguishing mark, a sign that God safeguards his faithful followers. This seal is mentioned in Revelation's visions, especially during tumultuous events. It's crucial to understand that this seal isn't physical, it's more like a spiritual badge. It's the way to identify who is genuinely connected to God and under his protection. The notion of sealing in Revelation has ancient roots, but it takes on profound spiritual significance. These servants of God will receive a protective seal on their forehead bearing God's name. Revelation 14-1. Then I looked. The Lamb stood firmly established on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000 who had his name and his Father's name inscribed on their foreheads, signifying God's own possession. Their exact service isn't detailed, but the 144,000 are sealed for a unique purpose. However, the general idea of being sealed isn't restricted to them. While some angels restrained Satan, another was tasked with identifying and distinguishing God's faithful servants. Revelation 7-4-8. And I heard how many were sealed, 144,000, 12,000 sealed from every tribe of Judah, Reuben, Gad, Asher, Naphtali, Manasseh, Simeon, Levi, Issachar, Zebulun. Joseph and Benjamin were sealed, marked, redeemed, protected. This is their general identification. They belong to all the tribes of the sons of Israel. Ethnically, they are Jewish, and there are 144,000 of these chosen ones. This text refers to a specific group of individuals, the 144,000, divided among the 12 tribes of Israel, with 12,000 from each tribe. It's believed that only God knows their tribal ancestry. Curiously, the tribe of Dan isn't included in this list. Some speculate this is due to Dan's association with the Antichrist, Daniel 11:37 and Jeremiah 8:16. Daniel 11:37, he will show no regard for the gods of his fathers. This may or may not be the case, but it's undeniable that Dan was the tribe that introduced idolatry into Israel. Many groups have claimed to be the 144,000. The identity of the 144,000 in Revelation 7 and 14 is clarified by certain facts. They are the sons of Israel, Revelation 7 to 4. Their tribal affiliation is explicit, Revelation 7 to 4:8. They will be protected and triumphant, meeting Jesus on Mount Zion, Revelation 14 to 1. They are celibate, Revelation 14 to 4. They are the beginning of a greater harvest, and they are marked by integrity and faithfulness, Revelation 14 to 5. Considering all this, it's difficult to argue that the 144,000 are an allegory of the church. The sealing in Revelation signifies a divine mark of protection and ownership, symbolizing spiritual preservation during times of tribulation. Each of the 12 tribes of Israel contributes 12,000 members, denoting completeness in God's selection. The number 144,000 is rich in symbolism. In biblical numerology, 12 often represents divine authority, completeness, perfect governance. Some suggest the 144,000 are symbolic, but the Bible gives their names. They aren't like Israel, they are Israel. Every tribe, every sealed man. Manasseh is there, a tribe once thought lost and now returned. They will be witnesses during the tribulation. Could the Bnei Manasseh be part of this end-time mission? The sealing of the 144,000 is a powerful sign of God's sovereignty and his ability to safeguard his chosen ones amidst chaos and destruction. This certainty comforts believers, assuring them of divine protection and the vital importance of faithfulness. Let me conclude with a truth that should resonate in the deepest part of your being. Not one tribe forgotten. Think about the immense meaning of this. Across 2,700 years of history, with empires rising and falling through persecutions and pogroms, amidst cultural shifts and generational changes, God preserved tribal identities in remote mountains of India, in the highlands of Ethiopia, in hidden communities across the globe. This is the same God who promised Abraham that his descendants would be as countless as the stars, the same God who promised David an eternal throne, the same God who, through Jeremiah, announced a new covenant. From Abraham to Revelation, the unbroken thread of faithfulness persists. Now, the question that should pierce your soul: if God is this faithful to Israel, how faithful is he to you? If he remembers scattered tribes after 27 centuries, will he forget your prayers? If he fulfills ancient prophecies to the letter, can you trust his promises to you? The answer is inscribed in the return of every lost tribe. Ancient prophecy, modern fulfillment, divine faithfulness. We've traced the journey from Samaria to Shinlung, from exile to recognition, from dreams to homecoming. But the story isn't over. There's still a piece to uncover in this prophetic puzzle. The next chapter: is Dan the lost tribe? I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think the return of Manasseh means for prophecy? Are we witnessing the prelude to end-time events? Share your reflections in the comments, because one thing is undeniable. We are living in the most prophetically significant time in human history, and the best is yet to come. Isaiah 11:12. And he will lift up a standard for the nations, and will assemble the banished ones of Israel, and will gather the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. The tribes are returning, the prophecies are being fulfilled. The question is, are you watching?